have been Romanized.
Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be playing Caesar 2 and I'm going to be building a city with 12 palaces. Caesar 2 is an old DOS game similar to SimCity except set in the Roman era. So you're a Roman emperor and you're trying to become Caesar by conquering the provinces. And I'm going to be playing it at the hardest level, which means you start off with very little money. So we're going to put down some roads. The plazas act as roads, except they also increase the land value around them. For some reason, your houses don't like to live in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing around. So put down a reservoir and a fountain for water access, and then set up our roads, and then put down some houses. The houses are good for tax revenue, and the only drawback is that you need a lot of things to keep them happy. So each house needs water access. They also need access to a tax collector, which comes out of these red Aventines. And they also need market access. We have to assign enough plebes to each of the services, or else your city will start falling apart. And we can also send some men to the army by conscription to help with the employment rate. You want to try to keep the employment rate up, or else the property value will start dropping. Now I'm going to put down a trading post and a warehouse connected to my city so I can get some business revenue from taxes from businesses. So here I have basically 4 different road networks because the walkers have limited number of squares that they can walk before they disappear. The walkers come out of the buildings and they walk along the roads and they give tax access and market access and also security. So the small building with a flag on it is a prefecture, and it provides security to the houses.
Plebs are needed. Plebs are needed.
You also need plebes to maintain your city. If you don't have enough of them, then your city kind of falls apart. Your city can catch fire, or the roads and water can start falling apart. Attempted robbery. You also need temples to store your denarii, or else they could be stolen. And the temple needs to be covered by security by the walkers that come out of the prefecture. Now our houses are growing. We'll put down some entertainment for them. So an ODM provides entertainment for the houses. One thing that is important for keeping up the property value is employment. You can get employment through either army conscription or through the buildings that you build. And it doesn't matter that whether the buildings are connected to anything, so long as they're out there somewhere. So I'm building some businesses to keep my employment rate up, or else the houses will start shrinking due to a low land value if the employment is too low. Then we're going to build a couple more businesses and wait for the end of the year so we can get more money, build more stuff next year. All while checking on the houses to make sure they have everything they need in order to grow.
Needed.
So it's the beginning of the year, and I'm going to add even more businesses to try to keep everybody employed. It's a mad scramble to try to add enough businesses to keep the employment rate up. I'm just keeping an eye on them to make sure that they have what they need and they're not shrinking and they're growing or staying the same. I also have to keep an eye on my budget, make sure I'm not going underneath the amount of money that I have. If the houses are shrinking due to low property value, you can try to prop them up using gardens or plazas. I didn't build those roads before because they would need more plebes for maintenance. But now that these houses say they're shrinking, I'm desperately trying to prop them up by increasing the property value around them. And again, we're going to wait until the end of the year so that we have more money to keep developing our city. I'm going to try to increase the number of plebes I have in advance because it takes them about a month or a few months to arrive after you increase the amount of money allocated to plebes. So here I am at the end of December. I have 2 denarii left, but I managed to make it through. And at the end of the year, you get money from all of your tax revenue. So then you have more money to spend for the coming year. The Emperor wants 5 units of copper. I don't have any copper, so I have to go build a copper mine.
Plebs are needed.
Now that I'm producing copper, I can add some copper businesses to my city. I'm basically putting down as many businesses as I can afford because the employment rate is dropping and I'm trying to keep it up. And we have to increase the number of plebes on fire prevention so that our city doesn't catch on fire. I'm basically trying to keep the tax revenue as high as possible without the residents rebelling or shrinking, because having too high of a tax rate can also cause them to shrink due to lower property values. So I'm going to build some plazas and gardens to try to keep these guys from shrinking because they're complaining about property values. I'm going to finish building out my road network because now I have enough money to do so. And put down a couple of shrines to increase land value as well as to store my denarii. Building some more businesses for employment. The copper mine is going to require some workers. So I'm going to have to increase the number of workers assigned to the provincial work. My rival Pompus Maximus is also trying to become Caesar. So he's also taking provinces as I'm conquering this one. Now we just wait for our houses to grow. Okay, now it's the next year and I'm able to provide the copper that the emperor is requesting. So here I'm going to build hospitals for my city. It doesn't really matter if the hospital is connected to your residences, so I'm just going to put them out in the middle of nowhere. And we're going to put an arena for more entertainment, as well as a grammaticus for education. And that's going to allow the houses to continue to develop.
Plebs.
Some more businesses for trying to keep the employment rate up. It's really hard to keep the employment rate up with so many houses on the map. I'm going to check on them to see if there's anything stopping them from growing. If employment rate is 75%, that's a pretty good target to go for. If it starts falling too low, then the houses may start to shrink due to low property values. They do need more things to be able to grow higher than they currently are, but I'm low on money, so I'm going to wait till the next year to buy more things for them. A wall is necessary for internal security so that they can continue to develop. And it takes several months for the security to kick in after you build a wall. The nice thing about building next to a river is that the river also forms part of the security. So the river is the same as a wall in terms of keeping your residents safe. Then I'm going to build a circus. So now the residents have 3 levels of entertainment: Odium, Arena, and Circus. That's going to help them to continue to grow. I'm going to put a rhetor as well. So they need 2 kinds of education,
Plebs.
grammaticus and rhetor. You can also send some of your people to the army. That'll help with employment, and you can build an army this way without having to pay for soldiers. So basically, the bigger your city population is, the bigger your army will become if you have conscription. But if your conscription rate is too high, then your people might riot. So I'm going to lower it a little bit because my unemployment is manageable at the moment. The residents also want to have library access. The library works the same way. It doesn't matter if the library is connected to the rest of your houses, so long as 1 square of the library has tax access. Here I'm going to put down a
Your troops are
rebellion.
victorious. The
My
enemy
army
is crushed.
and wait until the end of the year for more money again. down some more hospitals and libraries for the growing population. Now, when the houses start combining after a certain level of growth, they'll become 2x2s and 3x3s. The problem is they don't always combine in the best way, so then you end up with these weird combinations of houses that are suboptimal. To prevent them from merging with each other in a suboptimal ways, I'm going to clear out some squares of land in between them and fill them in with something that will cause the houses to not be able to combine on top of them. This will force the houses to combine in the optimal way. So now they're going to keep growing from domuses to villas. And then eventually they'll start to become palaces, which is the highest level of housing available in the game. And as each palace pops up, I'm going to clear out the plazas holding back the neighboring houses so that they can also continue to grow and become palaces. Now the Emperor wants stone. I have no stone quarries, so I'm going to build a quarry for stone. And I have to increase the number of workers for provincial work so that they can work to quarry the stone. So now that I have palaces, I can increase my salary by a lot because my city is raking in the money. And I can also go around conquering the neighboring towns. Basically, the only thing holding back for my promotion is the peace level, which needs time to develop.
Oops, a big.
When you send your guys back to the fort, they will regenerate any people that were lost, so your army becomes at full strength again. So now that I have a stone quarry, I can give the Emperor the stone that he requested. Some housing levels actually have less population density, such as domuses. That's why some years the population drops even though the houses are continuously growing. But my revenue keeps growing every year. That's good. But while I'm waiting for the peace to increase, I'm just gonna develop the rest of my empire by connecting all the towns and building more structures around it. The port can collect the goods from the ships. And connecting surrounding towns increases your empire rating in that oracle. I accidentally built 2 stone quarries, so I'm going to knock this one down and build a lead quarry instead. And a shipyard reduces the amount of time that a ship needs to dock when it arrives at the port, so you can get more goods this way, more goods per month. I'm going to build out some more businesses. Just wait for my promotion to the next province.
Select any of these ratings
So
have
here it is.
fulfilled the
I've
mandate the
conquered this
Emperor set
region in
out
9
for you.
years, and
He now
I've
invites you to leave this province in search
been
of greater
promoted,
challenges.
and now
Hail
I get to
Caesar!
conquer a new province.
Cisalpine Gaul.
The difficulty level
This
I'm on
province is
is
fairly
called
quiet,
impossible, and it is
but beware of
impossible because
occasional
for each
incursions of the
province you
Gauls to
conquer,
the north.
your rival conquers 2 of them, and then eventually you'll run out of provinces to conquer, so you'll never be able to conquer 20 provinces. So you'll never be able to win the game. And that's it. That's my little walkthrough of Caesar 2 with 12 palaces. Have a good one.